Hello, this is Chaplain Paul. Today, I'm putting a video together to help people, give people instructions on how to choose a good group home. A group home is a house that's been transformed into a care center. Uh, we are not talking about, well, I guess we are. We're talking about people that need round-the-clock care, physical care. We're not talking about a group home that deals with um, addiction or, uh, mental issues. We're talking about physical health where somebody can no longer be at home or is transitioning from a hospital and then to a medical rehab and then to a group home because they just don't have anybody at home to take care of them. This video will give some basic nuts and bolts uh, instructions on how to best screen a group home and protect yourself. So let's get to it. Thank you, Abba Father, for this opportunity to make this video. Thank you, Abba Father, Christ Yeshua, Holy Spirit. You are welcome. You are needed. You are loved. We thank you for watching over our families. We ask for godly wisdom when having to deal with these very serious health issues and navigating through American healthcare. That you would provide us with godly wisdom so that we can make sound decisions. And we thank you, love you, and praise you in the name of Yeshua Messiah. I put together a 12-point checklist. I'll put it below. I'll try to. I'll write it below, so you have it. The amount of staff, nights and weekends, is critical. They have what's called live-ins. Some of these places they have like one or two live-ins, which is good. You want to have no less than two staff members at all times. So if one's living in the facility, then the person's sleeping at night, and you have one staff member that's awake all night long. So in case of an emergency, that that staff member that's awake can wake up the staff member that's asleep, and they could deal with the situation. So make sure there's at least two staff on hand 24 hours a day, whether they're live-ins or not, that there's two staff. Make sure they're physically big enough, strong enough to lift up your loved one who's in this facility if they take a fall. My father-in-law fell forward and was on his knees, and they couldn't physically lift him back up. They had to call the fire department. So that's a key issue, to make sure that the staff is physically strong enough to lift your loved one back up, put them back in bed, or if they take a fall, or just kind of like my father-in-law, he kind of fell forward and he was on his knees and they couldn't lift him up. That's a key issue. Get it in writing that no matter what the situation is, there's to be visits by at least one healthy screen family member and clergy. I don't care if there's a nuclear war, a sun flare, a hurricane, a tornado, a flood, an earthquake. If aliens come and start destroying the world, your loved one has a constitutional right, a civil right, a patient's right, and a human right to have someone by their side to hold their hand, protect them, to prevent medical errors, make sure their medical wishes are being honored, making sure they're being fed properly, making sure they're receiving the love and compassion and care we all need in order to have a fighting chance for survival and the encouragement we need. So get that in writing. Put a Alexa video device bedside, and it syncs to your phone, and you have 24-hour access. So if the person in the facility says call home, call this person, call that person immediately, and vice versa, and you could see what's going on. This way, if there's anything happening health-wise, bed sore, rashes, infections, whatever, you don't have to drive across town. You could see it through Zoom or through the Alexa video app and make a decision after you pray, of course, ask for God's wisdom, and make a decision right there. those devices are critical of getting in there to make sure that you monitor your loved one. And these devices, you can do that with an Alexa video app, right? Uh, Check to see what complaints. There is no perfect group home. I'll tell you that right now. There is no perfect group home. We cannot expect strangers to give the same level of care as we do. Why? Because there's one element missing: love. All right, these people are there to do a job. You can't expect them to love our loved ones to the same degree as we do. So there's going to be, when you put your loved one in a group home, there's going to be glitches. There's going to be adjustment. There's going to be, things that need to be adjusted. So like the food and other issues need to be worked out as you go. So there is no perfect group home, and just pray, 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 and have family members or people around them constantly to make sure they're being cared for properly. Yeah, there's private rooms, and then there's rooms with a roommate. If you get a room with a roommate, you want to know if does this person have any history of being violent, dementia, other issues that may cause a risk to your loved one. You don't want to have a roommate that is violent or unruly or noisy. That's another thing. You have a roommate and they got the TV blaring because they can't hear, and that disrupts the sleep of our loved ones. All these things have to be taken into consideration. All right. They have what's called house rules. Some of these group homes, what they do is they don't allow any contact for a week, especially if the patient has dementia or other cognitive problems. They will, the house rules are, a house rule can be no contact for a week, not even with the cell phone. I'm against that. I'm totally against it. Okay. But it does exist, and you need to be aware of that. If your loved one has cognitive issues and is constantly calling 911 or calling other places, they might take the cell phone away. So you have to have again, the Alexa video app is the backup to that. Okay, to that issue. So if their cell phone gets taken away, you still got the Alexa video app. Maybe you could program it where it can't call 911 if your relative is, gets mad or is upset about something and is constantly calling 911. Well, that's not realistic. So I have to have some sort of a way around that. The food in these facilities, the food is, in my experience, is mostly unhealthy processed foods. Residents being, chips, top ramen, hot dogs, literally crap food. If you're not eating a healthy diet, organic foods, healthy diet, it wreaks havoc on your physical health and your mental health. It slows your ability to heal. You've got to have a healthy diet. You can't have cheap canned soup. You need homemade soup. This is where family comes in to provide good homemade meals for their loved ones that are in these facilities, and to order out. You can order out. It can be delivered right to the group home. It could get expensive, but having a diet of cheap hot dogs, and cheap food wreaks havoc. Again, it slows our ability to heal, wreaks havoc on your physical and mental health. So that needs to be looked at immediately. When you go in these group homes, they look like a hotel. They're clean, they're nice, the yard is nice, everything looks beautiful. But then when you look under the surface, you have serious issues that need to be addressed. Is the staff big enough to physically lift up your loved one and put them back to bed or get them back in the wheelchair if they fall forward? The food, is it healthy? You have to create a menu for your loved one and make sure they do it. Otherwise, get them out of there. And again, provide order food out that's healthy, bring them homemade foods, supplements. Most healthcare facilities do not uh, are not big on supplements. Vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamins and supplements are key. And if they're not allowed or if they frown on it, you got to put your foot down. All right. And now, again, if vitamin C interferes with their medication or they have an allergic reaction, obviously you don't give them the supplement. But if it's something that like seaweed is very good uh, for our immune system, and you get it in powder form and you put it on salad and you put it on food, that shouldn't interfere with medication. Okay. Um, if your loved one is frail, has trouble walking, has balance issues, they need to be escorted to the bathroom and literally made sure they don't fall. Most accidents happen in the bathroom. Patient falls, they fracture a hip, fracture a bone, they're too frail to be operated on, and it goes sepsis and they die. This is how my father-in-law died. He fell in the bathroom, broke his hip, and he was too frail to be operated on, too frail to have the physical therapy after surgery, and he died. It went sepsis and he died. Another issue with my father-in-law, a patient with dementia came in the room at 3 o'clock in the morning, climbed on top of him, and was pounding his chest, thinking that my father-in-law was having a heart attack. There's got to be a security measure in place that prevents other patients from doing exactly that, going in the room and sexually assaulting, physically assaulting, verbally assaulting other patients. There's got to be a mechanism in these facilities that would prevent that altercations from happening. Make sure you know what the fire department. You don't want to get a group home that's a long distance away from a fire department. You want the fire department to get there within 10 minutes, if at all possible. That's a key issue. You don't want to be waiting a half hour for the fire department to show up. Uh, you have to find out what is the policy of the group home when if your loved one takes a fall. All right, so they take a fall. You want to know what the policy is. Okay, here's the policy. Here's the Chaplain Paul policy. They call the emergency contact, family member, whoever is the medical power of attorney or emergency contact. They're told your loved one took a fall. Okay, the contact makes a decision based on prayer whether to go to the group home and assess the situation or call 911 and meet the EMTs at the group home. That's it. The EMTs need to be called to do an assessment and, if need be, take the resident to the hospital to be evaluated and make sure there's not any broken bones or other serious complications, internal bleeding and things like that, that the group home is just not geared to check for. Uh, some of these group homes, they will just put the loved one back to bed. Some of these group homes, if you say call 911, like my friend Todd, his mother had an infection. Her temperature went up. He was called at work, and the decision was made to take the mother to the hospital. He thought that was going to happen immediately. It didn't happen for 6 hours. Okay, he didn't think it was serious enough to leave work. He gave instructions to send his mother to the hospital, call 911. They delayed that, and it basically cost her life. She died, went sepsis by the time got to the hospital. Uh, you know, if she had gotten to the hospital early, I don't know, maybe she would have saved her life. I don't know, but she wound up dying. Again, you can't trust these people. If you say call 911, they may not call right away. This is a classic example. So what do? You've got to call 911 yourself then. Don't leave it up to the facility. Call 911 yourself. Tell them you're going to meet them at the facility or you're going to meet them at the hospital. Okay? If you're too far away, you're at work and or there's a problem with getting to the group home, get them there, get them to evaluate your loved one, and if need be, get them to the hospital and get there. And don't leave it up to the facility to call 911. Activities. Make sure they have some type of good stimulant activities, uh, in the group home. And if not, bring them in. Bring something in there that's going to stimulate their mind and just get them not just sitting all day, but actually get their mind stimulated. Interesting stories, videos, pictures from home, music that they listen to early in life, pictures of their loved ones, something to stimulate their mind. Okay, it's very important. Visiting hours. You need to know what the visiting hours are: mornings, nights, and weekends. Some of these places do not like visitors when it's breakfast and lunch and dinner because it's just too confusing and just too much. So you need to know when the visiting hours are, holidays, what their policy is. Um, and then another issue is do they, if a minor thing happens, do they take the patient to, if it's decided to go to, if they get a little cut or something, I don't know, something minor happens, do they drive the patient to urgent care until you could get there? Is that an option or not? Is it an option? Do they get the medications? A lot of these places they have their own pharmacy or they'll use your pharmacy. If a patient has to have dialysis or other doctor visits, do they facilitate that? Do they bring the patient to the doctor, facilitate things of that nature, facilitate medication? That's key to to find out about. This is just some of the things that you've got to screen these places. You cannot go in and look at a beautiful home that's clean and you have, all the amenities and it's like walking into a mansion. You can't use that. You cannot use that as your deciding factor. It's better to be in a dump and get excellent care, be safe, good food, and uh, and just be getting excellent care. It's better to be in a house that's a little bit weathered, a little bit uh, older, um, and not the Taj Mahal. It's not about the house. It's about the quality of care and the safety of our loved ones. Yes, you don't want a broken down old house where the air conditioner and the water heater break. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is don't base your decision whether to put your loved one in a group home solely based on aesthetics, how beautiful the house is, how beautiful the grounds are, the furniture and everything. It looks like a hotel. It looks like a resort. Don't base your decision on that. Base your decision on quality care, safety, what services they provide, what emergency measures they have. If your loved one takes a fall or God forbid something happens to them, is the staff physically able to lift up your loved one if they fall out of bed, fall out of the wheelchair, take a fall forward? Are they able to lift them up? The quality of food again. All of these things. What's their policy? Their uh, house rules policy. What's their policy if the patient takes a fall? You're paying anywhere from $4,000 to $12,000 a month. You tell them exactly what you want, get it in writing, and if they don't do it, either sue them or take either get your loved one out and find a better group home, or sue them, or both. Uh, they This isn't just hand over our loved ones and then look the other way. Have your guard up. Know that these places are not perfect. Not all staff is nice and compassionate. So it's on a trial basis. Okay, it's on a trial basis. So again, God bless you. Remember, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Apply that. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 has got to be applied as you move through and navigate through America.